Hey friends, racers, happy Monday. Hope you guys had an awesome weekend. I know we had a lot of people racing this weekend, so awesome job to everyone who got out there and raced. We had some fun ones, both in Arizona and in San Jose, some pretty fast courses, so it was pretty fun. And for those of you who I actually saw out there, it was great to meet up with you, great to talk to you. Hey Trevor. And let's look forward to the next one. What I want to talk about today, though, is when do we listen to our emotional side and when do we listen to our logical side? Because we have both sides of these brains of our brain that are constantly telling us what to do, and essentially they're kind of fighting against each other a lot. We have the emotional side that we want to continue training, we want to continue racing because that's fun and that's what we enjoy. And then we have that logical side that gives us that second thought of maybe I shouldn't do this right now, but I don't want to listen to this side. And so I really wanted to dive into that of when do we listen to each of these, because there is a time and a place to push through pain, but it's not going to be in all circumstances. Ultimately, if you are just in a training session, so you are just at the gym or for a run or with your training group, whatever it is, if you're just in a training session, that is not when you push through pain. That is the time that you listen to your body and don't get yourself injured. There's no point if you're just doing a routine session to really force it and really push through that. Because that's always there. At the end of the day, our training session is not what we're training for. Our race or competition coming up is what we're training for. So there's no point in totally pushing your body through pain to a potential injury when you are just in a training session. Now, when it comes to competitions, comes to races, thanks for helping on, guys, appreciate it. When it comes to your actual race itself, that's when there's kind of a which way should we go with it. So when we're looking at, and we have to look at two directions. One, coming into the race injured, and two, getting injured during it. So coming into that race, typically I'm going to tell someone, if you're injured, not to race. But I know that's not always the answer. So we do kind of have to look at things a little bit. So then I have someone look at, you have your races, your A races and your B races, your ones that you absolutely want to crush, want to perform really well at. And then you have your races that you just kind of go out for the experience, to get better at obstacles, to kind of test things a little bit. If we are dealing with one of your B races, I typically say, let's not push it through that. No point in injuring ourselves worse through that. If it is an A race, one of those that you absolutely want to do because you're doing it with friends, because you want to perform well, well then maybe we figure out how to get you out there because it is one of those that you're wanting to really push for. But with that said, depending on what that injury is, if it's causing you to compensate, to change how you're moving, to really having to modify and adapt things, that's not going to be the best idea to get out there either. So you really have to look at things and really think from a your long-term goal. Is this one race going to be worth a potential injury or potential worse injury? Because if it is, then cool, let's do it. But if you have Greece coming up at the end of the year and this race coming up doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, then let's hold off on that. Let's not race it. Let's take time to address that injury so you actually can do those other bigger goal races later on. Now, during the race, that's always the big question mark. When to stop, when not to. Obviously, if you know something's fractured, stop. Don't ever train on a fracture. You are 9 times out of 10 going to make things worse for yourself. Now, with that said, if it's a sprain, like ankle sprain, something like that, you may or may not be able to continue running, but you can easily continue walking through it. So no, you're not going to get that best time that you were looking for, but you can still finish that race. And you may be able to start running again. That just depends. It kind of depends on severity of things, on how it feels. So if it's something like just if you sprain something or maybe you injured your shoulder a little bit, you can probably continue working through those. Maybe you can't do the hanging obstacles if you injured your shoulder, but you can still do a lot of other things. You can probably still do your carries. You can probably still do a lot of the other movements, a lot of the other obstacles. So a lot of it during the race is kind of seeing how things, testing the severity of it and seeing what you can do. Because a lot of things, as long as it's not a fracture, we can continue working through, we can continue pushing through to actually finish that race. Then after that, then it's time to reassess, figure out what needs to be done to rehab properly so you are ready for that next race coming up. So that's what I wanted to share with you is there's a lot of, do we listen to that emotional side of us that says, let's go do this? Or do we listen to that logical side that's like, I'm hurt, maybe I shouldn't do this? It's hard to know what to listen to, when to listen to it. So I hope that helped give you some clarity. Let me know what other questions you have, because I'm sure a lot of other things have popped into your head as you've listened to this. So post those questions on here, or feel free to reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you on Messenger. Have an awesome day, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.